Anybody know the town of Chipping Norton down in the West Country?
Yeah.
Huh? Well, if you've been through it, then if you've been through on the west, going westwards, you'll have driven past what is the finest industrial building in Britain. It's a cloth mill, tweed mill, and it was built by my great-great-grandfather, William Bliss. Now, I used to keep very quiet about having a mill owner for an ancestor. It just wasn't something I wanted to be proud of at all. I didn't like the idea of being descended from a capitalist bastard. So when people used to say to me, you anything to do with the Blisses of Chipping Norton, I used to say, no, nothing to do with me. Because I knew that during the general strike there had been a lockout and some lads were shot. So it was not something at all I wanted to be associated with. But then I discovered that the mill had passed from the family hands in 1911, long before the general strike. And more important than that, William Bliss was a member of that small group of industrialists who call themselves the Utopian Socialists. And there was Robert Owen at New Lanark, there was Titus Salt at Saltaire, and there was a chap down in Birmingham with the marvellous chocolate factory, Willy Wonka. And when the original mill burned down in a terrible fire, he built this fantastic edifice, which it's most distinctive. It's got what looks like a sink plunger on the roof, a huge sink plunger. It's a copper dome with a factory chimney sticking straight up through the middle, and it's known as a sink plunger. And he built this extraordinary building, which is lovely. It's set in Parkland, but he also built workers' cottages and reading rooms and chapel and a hospital and all the things which those people believed the workers needed. In fact, he got a medal from Napoleon Bonaparte for looking after his workers well. So he was actually a bona fide philanthropist. He had a lot of very rare stamps. So I decided that I would own up and admit my roots and write a song for him. And this is it. The song is called Silken Leather because it turns out that the advertising strapline was Bliss tweed, silken leather, because it was soft as silk, yet hard as leather. So that's the chorus. You have to sing that a few times. And if you listen carefully to the words of the last verse, you'll find out why, even though I'm the senior male in line, I'm not the owner of what is now a block of luxury flats worth about £37 million. And consequently why I'm before you this evening. I will sing you a song of William B. Did very well for mine and me. Had us all work in his factory, making silken leather. No gardener could be wholly good, but he seemed to do the best he could. Fed us faith and facts and food, making silken leather. So here's to Mr. William and his tweed. That's the bit I really wanted to join in with. Here's to Mr. William and his tweed. And if you have glasses, you may raise them. That's if you're wearing any. Here's to Mr. William and his tweed. He would have no children in his mill, no women in the winter chill, at least till a breakfast trade had fill, making silken leather. Our wages never made a pound, but when we ailed, he rallied round, and pensions for the old was found. That was a radical new idea at the time. Seems to have gone completely out of fashion now. Thanks to silken leather, so here's to Mr. William and his tweed. The cloth we made was fine indeed, the very best of English tweed, perfect for the gentry's need. They call it silken leather, as soft as gossamer inside, but finished like a rhino's hide. A man could wear those breeks with pride, and possibly a certain sexual frisson, who knows. Thanks to silken leather, here's to Mr. William and his tweed. To prove my point, this now I show. In Africa not long ago, a huntsman shot a buffalo wearing silken leather. I have to stop the song at this point because sometimes people get the wrong end of the stick. As far as I can make out from the little newspaper cutting that I do have from the South African Times of the period, which was used as publicity by the mill, it was actually the huntsman that was wearing this wonderful cloth. I don't think the buffalo had anything on at all. But the wounded beast would not succumb. It chased that huntsman. It was rum, but it found no purchase on his bum. Thanks to silken leather, so here's to Mr. William and his tweed. So all of Chipping Norton town was filled with fear and fret and frown the night that William's mill burned down. silken leather. But William B would not be beat. He built that new mill up the street that looks just like an ice cream treat. Or possibly a sink plunger, depending on your point of view. Thanks to silken leather, here's to Mr. William and his team. Let's swing! So, like the rest, I sobbed and I sighed the night that William Bliss he died, with his sons all by his side, all wearing silken leather. But when the lawyers read the will, the donations came to such a bill that the family had to sell the mill, which wasn't quite so clever.